Hi everyone, this is Olga. If you think making homemade marshmallow, Zefir, is difficult, be sure to watch this video. I'll walk you through all the details and secrets. Everyone without exception will be able to make this Zefir. These recipes are tried and tested. Feel free to follow them. You'll find all the ingredient proportions in the description below the video. First, let's make classic Zefir with a minimal amount of sugar, no puree reduction, no thermometer, and agar from the supermarket. Just to clarify, I'll show you two variations of Zefir. To start, let's make plum Zefir. For this, you'll need plums of any variety. Cut them in half and remove the pits. In this case, we can't just blend the plums into a puree and use it without pre-cooking for making Zefir. So first, we'll roast the plums. Place the plum halves on a baking sheet lined with parchment, cut side down or up. It doesn't matter. You can roast apples the same way, minus the core. Don't remove the peel. It contains pectin. Bake the fruit at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for 20 to 30 minutes until soft. For the plum puree, we need the roasted plums specifically. Put them into a food processor or blender bowl and blend into a puree. Then strain through a sieve. A ladle makes this easy. It only takes 1 to 2 minutes. I don't throw away the pulp. I put it into a pitcher and pour boiling water over it. It makes a tasty drink. In the end, you get a thick, rich plum puree. In the same bowl, I put the roasted apples and blend them the same way. Then strain through a sieve and you get a thick apple puree. We won't be using it. I just wanted to show that apples can be used instead of plums. During plum and apple season, you can prepare puree this way for winter, freeze it, and take it out as needed to make Zefir. Now we can start making the Zefir itself. Right away, fit a piping tip into a large pastry bag. I have a closed star tip from AliExpress, no number on it. Its widest diameter is 2.5 centimeters. Use whatever tip you have on hand. Place the pastry bag with the tip into a tall bowl or cup. It's easier to fill the bag with Zefir mixture that way. Also prepare in advance the surface where you'll pipe the Zefir. This can be a silicone mat, a Teflon mat, or a piece of non-stick parchment. Prepare everything ahead of time because the Zefir mixture stabilizes quickly and you won't have time to do it later. Next, prepare the ingredients for the syrup. It's easiest to cook it in a small saucepan with a handle, but a thick-bottomed pot works too. Pour 70 grams of water into the saucepan. Following the recipe, add 6 grams of 900 strength agar. Mix the agar with the water. I don't have good pastry grade agar, so I use 8 grams of supermarket agar. When buying agar at the supermarket, check that there are no additives in the ingredients. That kind of agar may not set well. Add 200 grams of plum puree. Stir in 150 grams of sugar and mix. You might think, whoa, 150 grams of sugar. But trust me, that's not much compared to other Zefir recipes. Sugar is the base of Zefir, so it's needed regardless. Place the saucepan on the stove, but don't turn on the heat yet. We're just preparing it in advance to save time later. Next, pour 70 grams of egg whites into a clean, dry bowl with no trace of grease. That's roughly the whites from 2 medium eggs. Add a pinch of citric acid. For Zefir, all ingredients should be weighed on a scale. That way it will definitely turn out right. Whip the whites on high or maximum speed until foamy like beer foam. Then add 50 grams of sugar in 2 to 3 additions. Whip the whites to stiff peaks. My mixer is 350 watts and the whole whipping process takes about 4 minutes. If you, like me, enjoy tasty and healthy recipes, head over to my Telegram channel. The link is in the description. I'll be waiting for you all. Here's what the whites look like once whipped. They don't move. If the whites aren't whipped enough, the Zefir won't hold its shape later and will just spread out. Set the whipped whites aside to rest while we make the syrup. Turn the stove to high heat. If it's burning your hand too much, lower the heat a little. I cook the syrup on a gas stove with a standard-sized burner. Stir the syrup constantly since the agar settles to the bottom and can burn. Once the syrup boils, start timing and cook it for about 4 minutes from the moment it starts boiling. If you have a thermometer, bring the syrup to 101 degrees Celsius, 214 degrees Fahrenheit. Then pour the syrup into the whipped whites in a thin stream, trying not to let it hit the sides of the bowl or the whisk. Once all the syrup has been added, don't scrape the sides of the saucepan with a spatula. Whip the whites and syrup together on high speed until you get a thick, dense mass. Once the Zefir mixture starts wrapping around the mixer's beaters, you can start piping. The mixture should be light, airy, and hold its shape on a spatula without dripping off. Quickly transfer it into the pastry bag. Do this right away so the mixture doesn't stabilize in the bowl. If your bag is small, split it between 2 smaller bags, then nest one inside the other. If, like me, you're not skilled at piping Zefir, make yourself a stencil ahead of time. On a sheet of A4 paper, draw the outlines of the Zefir shapes at the size you want. It helps to also draw an inner circle. Mine are small, about 4.5 centimeters in diameter. You can see this stencil through a sheet of parchment paper. We took a bit of a detour just now, but as we said, everything needs to be prepared in advance. As soon as the Zefir mixture is in the pastry bag, pipe it quickly. Agar sets at around 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, so the Zefir mixture shouldn't be allowed to cool down. I start by piping into the center, then work counterclockwise to form a circle of the size I want. Then I build upward and add 2 more layers. On the 3rd layer, I ease off the pressure on the bag so it leaves a neat peak. I've also noticed that the bottom layer has the largest diameter, while the layers above are slightly smaller. That makes the finished Zefir look neater. This is how you pipe all of the Zefir. If you don't have a pastry bag and tip but still want to try making Zefir, you can prepare the mixture and pour it into an oiled silicone mold instead. Then unmold it and cut it into pieces like marshmallows. This batch makes about 28 Zefir halves. Set it aside to stabilize. Next, let's make peach Zefir without cooking down the puree. Take 3 medium peaches, about 350 grams, cut into random pieces, and blend with an immersion blender into a puree. Instead of peaches, you can use strawberries, raspberries, currants, or other berries to your taste. Strain the puree through a sieve. From this amount of peaches, I ended up with exactly 200 grams of peach puree. Just like before, pour 70 grams of water into the saucepan, add 8 grams of agar, and mix. Stir in 150 grams of sugar and 200 grams of puree. Mix, place on the stove, but don't turn on the heat yet. Separately, pour 70 grams of egg whites into a bowl and add a pinch of citric acid. Once it foams up like beer foam, add 50 grams of sugar in 2 to 3 additions. Whip the whites to stiff peaks. Then cook the syrup on high heat for 4 minutes from the moment it boils, stirring constantly throughout. You can also cook the syrup on medium heat, which takes longer, about 6 minutes. Pour the syrup into the whipped whites in a thin stream. Once all the syrup has been added, keep whipping on high speed for another 2 minutes. Pipe the Zefir exactly the same way as the plum version. If piping takes too long, the agar can set right inside the pastry bag, so work quickly. Here's what I ended up with. Leave the Zefir to stabilize on the counter at room temperature in this state. After about half an hour, the Zefir barely sticks and comes away from the parchment easily. Now it needs time to mature. I'll be honest with you, we tried the Zefir after just 2 to 3 hours. But it's better to let it sit and stabilize overnight. I also want to show that piping neat Zefir shapes without a stencil is difficult. It really takes practice to get the hang of it. Alright friends, a night has passed, so let's dust the Zefir with powder. For this, combine 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar with 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Sprinkle the powdered cornstarch mix over the Zefir halves. If you'd like, you can join whole Zefirs from the halves first and then dust them. Do whichever is easier for you. Importantly, the halves stick together well. If needed, dust the edges with the powdered cornstarch mix and shake off any excess so there isn't too much coating. This is how you finish all the Zefir, and here's the appetizing Zefir we ended up with. Springy, airy, and best of all, natural. Let me show you what it looks like cut in half. Let's taste it. I really like this Zefir. It's lightly sweet, not overly sugary, and delicate. The plum one has a nice tartness, and the peach one is more fragrant. Store Zefir in a closed container at room temperature for a few days, though we usually eat ours within 5 to 7 days. It doesn't spoil in that time, and we manage to finish it anyway. Overall, friends, this is a great recipe. I recommend trying it. Next, let's make a healthy Zefir with absolutely no sugar, no egg whites, and no agar. It's even more delicate in taste. To start, soak 2 tablespoons of gelatin, 20 grams by weight, in 100 milliliters of water, which is about 6 to 7 tablespoons. Use room temperature water. Stir and let the gelatin bloom for about 5 to 7 minutes. Mine is instant, ordinary supermarket gelatin with a gel strength of about 160 to 180 bloom. Next, add 200 grams of frozen berries or fruit to a saucepan, thick-bottomed pot, or even a frying pan. This recipe is a great way to clear out your freezer. I'm using homemade frozen strawberries. Add 2 tablespoons of water, about 30 milliliters. Turn the heat to low or just below medium. The berries will gradually warm up and thaw. Stir them a few times so the strawberries warm evenly. Within about 3 to 5 minutes, the strawberries have fully thawed and softened. Bring them just to the first signs of boiling. Then turn off the heat. Pour into a bowl and let cool to room temperature. This happens quickly. You can stir the berries a few times to help them cool faster. By this time, the gelatin has bloomed nicely. Melt it in short bursts in the microwave or over a water bath until all the granules dissolve. Pour the melted gelatin into the bowl with the strawberries. Add 250 grams of thick Greek yogurt. For sweetness, add a sugar substitute. Or if you prefer, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey or 2 tablespoons of sugar instead. Use whatever you like. I used 2 packets of sugar substitute. This is actually the first time I've tried it, so we'll see how it turns out. Next, blend everything with an immersion blender for about 3 to 4 minutes until you get a very smooth, even texture full of air bubbles. Here, we're not just blending until smooth. We're also whipping air bubbles into the mixture. Next, you'll need any silicone mold you have on hand. Mine is 21 by 9 centimeters. If you don't have a silicone mold, pour the mixture into a container or another solid mold instead. To keep the bubbles intact, put the mold straight into the fridge for about 3 to 4 hours until it fully sets. After 3 hours, the jelly has set. I run a flexible spatula around the edges to loosen it from the mold, then unmold the jelly. Mine has a ridged pattern, so it comes out a bit reluctantly. If your mold has a smooth surface, it'll be much easier. If you're using a container instead, it's better to just cut the dessert into pieces right in the container rather than trying to unmold it whole. Here's what it looks like from the other side. The result is a bubbly pink dessert weighing 500 grams. As you can see, it holds its shape well while still being quite flexible. Let's cut it into pieces and try what we've made. I'll say right away, it's delicious and most people will enjoy it. Of course, this isn't Zefir in the strict sense of the word, but I understand why it gets called that. The texture strongly resembles soft, airy Zefir. The strawberry flavor really comes through and adds freshness to the dessert, while the yogurt leaves a pleasant aftertaste. It's not sour, moderately sweet, and very, very delicate. The jelly's texture is exactly right. It holds its shape while also melting in your mouth. The three of us finished it in one sitting and enjoyed every bit. If you love different kinds of jelly desserts, you'll enjoy this one too. Finally, let's make Lazy Zefir. No special piping tip or fuss required. If you're intimidated by piping Zefir, this recipe is for you. Soak 20 grams of instant gelatin in 80 milliliters of cold boiled water. Stir and let it bloom. Grease a small rectangular, square or round mold with neutral vegetable oil. Mine is 14 by 20 centimeters. Line the mold with 2 overlapping layers of plastic wrap, leaving generous overhanging edges. Lightly grease the top of the plastic wrap with a thin layer of neutral vegetable oil as well. Wash and dry 150 grams of strawberries thoroughly, then blend them into a smooth puree. Instead of strawberries, you can use other berries or fruits such as cherries, currants, or raspberries. Pour the blended puree with no chunks into a thick-bottomed pot or saucepan. I don't strain this puree. Add 150 grams of sugar. Cook the puree over low heat, stirring occasionally until the sugar fully dissolves. Meanwhile, pour 1 medium egg white into a bowl. Wash the egg beforehand with dish soap and a sponge, and you can also soak it in a baking soda solution. Whip the egg white with a mixer. Once it starts to foam, gradually add 30 grams of sugar in portions. Whip the white to stiff peaks. You'll know it's ready when the bowl can be turned upside down and the white doesn't move. Once the puree comes to a boil, cook it for 1 minute over low heat. Then turn off the heat. Immediately stir the bloom gelatin into the hot puree. I don't let the puree cool first. Don't worry, the dessert will still set fine with the gelatin. Then pour the hot puree into the egg white and whip with a mixer. This takes about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your mixer's power. The mixture will gradually become thicker and fluffier. If you like, you can add a pinch of food coloring for a brighter color. At the end, this so-called Zefir mixture should drip slowly off the whisk. Pour it into the mold and cover with plastic wrap. Lightly grease the sides of the wrap with a bit of oil too, so nothing sticks. Then place the dessert in the fridge for at least 3 hours to set. Once set, remove it from the mold and transfer it to a cutting board. Cut it into portioned pieces. This Zefir barely sticks to your hands. If you like, you can dust it with powdered sugar, but it's perfectly fine to eat without it too. Of course, friends, this isn't real Zefir. It's an alternative to it, but the texture is still quite similar. Airy, slightly springy, and reminiscent of Zefir. It's not overly sweet, pleasantly balanced with the strawberry flavor and its light tartness coming through clearly. Overall, friends, this is an interesting, tasty recipe. Both my child and the rest of us enjoyed it. If raw egg white makes you uneasy, substitute pasteurized egg white instead. Store this Zefir in a cool place or in the fridge in a sealed container. It's a reliable recipe. I hope it comes in handy for you. Thank you to everyone who watched this video all the way through. As always, please support my video with a like and a subscribe. I'm looking forward to your comments. I wish you all peaceful skies overhead. Until next time, my dears, bye.